Hey everyone, my name's Ben. This is the mini painting page and welcome, where today we're going to be talking over a total of 5 different products that I tend to use alongside my hobby, which aren't exactly tools. And I thought it'd be good to share awareness of them and how I use them so that together we can build a sort of collective of information around tools and get some creative ideas out there on ways that we can utilize non-hobby products for the purpose of the hobby. So stick around while we jump into that list. We're starting off with one of the more expensive yet versatile pieces of equipment on the list, and this one is a travel case, originally aimed at cosmeticians to help them manage their large selection of brushes, mediums, pigments, makeup, and other equipment. With a few quick modifications, this can become nearly perfect to us, as I'm sure you can imagine as wargamers we have a similar need, whether we want it to transport our hobby equipment or potentially our models. These cases tend to come with multiple sections that can be added to, detached and clipped into place, and are normally made from, unfortunately, an aluminium or other lightweight material, which is good for transport and lightweight carrying, but more often than not is not actually magnetic. So we can make a small modification here by gluing in a sheet of metal that is magnetic to the bottom of the panels, and therefore we now have these trays which are also magnetic. I achieved that by taking an old computer panel that was being thrown away and just cut it to size, popped it in the bottom and glued it into place. And now I have a tray, which is also magnetic. This is what I actually used when I went up to Golden Demon in Manchester. I was just able to chuck all of the paints, accessories and everything I needed so that if I ever needed to fix a Golden Demon entry or bought a model and wanted to paint it, I had the products with me, easily available. And because the case locks, I could just lock them safely away, and unless someone was going to run away with the whole case, I could be relatively sure that my items were safe. Talking of carrying brushes around, this brings us on to our second item, which is an item you've probably seen in the background of some other videos, and is what I use to carry most of my brushes around, and it is an incense burner and holder. I find this perfect for storing brushes, both in my hobby room as well as when I'm out traveling to a hobby store or friends for painting. You can pop all of your standard brushes in the top section, providing we keep the caps when we get the brushes. We know that the tips and the bristles are going to be safely contained, as well as there being air holes in this for ventilation, means that we shouldn't get overly damp moisture buildup within the container, which could lead to mildew and mold and possible other things growing in our brushes. But that's not the end. There are a few other aspects that I quite like about this. First, we can pop all of the caps into the top section when we are actually painting, which hopefully should reduce the hunt for missing paint caps on the floor when they inevitably roll off of the table. But what I also like most is the actual understorage on the incense burner. This is where traditionally you would pop unused incense sections so that you could take it out, pop it in the top, and then light it ready for use. However, what I like to do is pop my more expensive Kolinsky sable brushes in there, so that if I ever do go out to a gaming store or similar, what I can do is get that out, and if anyone nabs a brush and hasn't particularly asked, I can be confident they're going to be taking one of my lower quality or cheaper brushes and not running off with one of my more expensive sable brushes. Bringing us on to number 3, we have magnification headpieces, and I'm sure you've seen these in some videos. They are essentially headpieces with magnification lenses that detach. All we do is pick the magnification we want and plug them in. These are great. I use these quite a lot. I have terrible eyesight, but you can still use them even if you have good eyesight. However, what I wanted to do is bring some attention to this product, which is essentially the same thing, but this one is sold for working on eyelashes. And as we know, eyelashes are incredibly small. So this one has 2 attachment points for magnification lenses. This gives us the ability to vary the distance between one lens and another, which gives us an ability to focus at different distances to a degree, but we also have the ability to stack magnification of the lenses, going up to around 20 times magnification in comparison to the standard 3.5 that you often get on the white standard headpieces. There is not much more to say on this one. The standard one makes small things big, and this one makes them even bigger. Oddly, I got these from the same place that I got the next tool, which is an eyelash brush. But we're not going to be using it for eyelashes, don't worry. Yes, an eyelash brush. Number 4 on the list is this eyelash brush, which has a super soft end, which I like to use for cleaning models as well as, to be honest, camera lenses. Because it's so soft, it can remove dust from areas without damaging any of the paint and hard work that we've done. As well as that, it can also be used for some dry brushing. However, because of the broad tip nature of this brush, it does mean that we can't get into any small recesses. So possibly better for large panels, possibly tanks, scenery, things like that. However, you could use it in a pinch on a model as well. Sweeping up after number 4 and the eyelash brush, this brings us to the final item on the list. And again, this one is slightly off nature in regards to accessories, I guess is probably a terrible way of putting that. But either way, for going to conventions, games, stores, or even a friend's, this is an excellent item to get everything we need from one place to the other. And yes, it's a bag that I'm talking about, but I'm not just going to recommend this bag specifically, even though I've had absolutely no issues with it and I think it's great. But what I want to do is recommend this style of bag as a useful product. Mainly, I'm specifying a bag with 2 compartments, ideally one large, which is able to accommodate a storage case or a gaming case, and one smaller section, which can accommodate rulebooks, codexes, laptops, things like that. However, the second and main feature that I like of this bag, and which is why I'm recommending this type, is the rollable nature of it. With the pull of this handle, we can extend it and it becomes from a backpack into a rollable carry-on case, which is great when we've got it packed full of codexes, rulebooks, and things that are going to make it heavy. We are able to roll it around so that we're still able to walk at the end of the day. Now, obviously, this will vary depending on the bag you get, but as I said, try and make sure that you can get one capable of holding a small gaming case. And what this means is that if we have a large monster, tank or vehicle that won't fit in a gaming case, we can put the gaming case in our bag, carry all of our rules of accessories, and then we have our hands free to carry the larger model. Or we could potentially put that larger model in the case that I mentioned first of all, just magnetize it in and we can carry that in because we have our hands free when it's in backpack mode. But that's just my thoughts on it. What I'd rather know is there any products that you guys can think of that aren't tailored or aimed or targeted at all at us as hobbyists, that with a few tweaks or potentially no tweaks at all can be converted into a very useful hobby tool for us as hobbyists, miniature painters, war gamers, and things like that? Do let me know down in the comments below because I'd be very interested to see what you've come across in your time. However, beyond that, do remember to subscribe so that we can see you next time.